Hello and welcome to Attacking Third, your favorite women's soccer show. I'm Sandra Herrera alongside McCall Zerboni and Angeli, and I'm thrilled to hop right back into NWSL content with everyone. NWSL is back, and we're just so happy that everybody's joining us here on Attacking Third, whether you're with us live on YouTube or just listening as a podcast. We're just thrilled that you're here with us, and let us know that you're here with us. We see you all in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling about NWSL being back, about Copa América Femenina, all the good things. And something else I need your help on, audience. Attacking Third has been nominated again for a People's Choice Award for Best Female Hosted Podcast. And I need your help to reach the finals. All you have to do is register to vote at podcastawards.com/app/signup. And once you do, go ahead and hit that drop-down menu for Best Female Hosted Podcast and select Attacking Third. That's it. That's all you got to do. It should take less than 60 seconds. We appreciate all the love, all the support. Thank you for always being in our corner, having our backs, joining us on these lives, and, of course, hitting us with all your thoughts, feelings, and opinions about all things women's soccer. So go ahead, hit that link, hit that QR code, and give us a vote. And while you're doing that, also just let Jordan know how happy you are that she's back with us too. I love it, Jordan. How you doing? How you been?
I've been good. You know, I love making a substitute appearance. I was joking with McCall about it before you jumped on, Sandra. This was just like the end of my career. You knew you were going to get the call. You had to be ready. You had to be prepared. And here I am, just the super sub. So it feels natural to me.
Late sub energy. I love it.
You got to bring it. You got to bring it.
I'm happy to see you again too, McCall. It's been a little while since we had to hop on and do one of these together. It's like sometimes we got a lot of talent out here in A3, so we're always rotating. So I'm happy to cross paths with you again. But how's your summer of soccer been going?
Thanks, buddy. It's been a minute that we haven't worked together, but I'm just thinking about the award for the podcast. It's also for y'all, the fans. You guys are going to win this award too if we get it, right? So get in there, reward yourselves. You guys have been so freaking awesome all year so far, supporting us, watching along, engaging. I love when I read the comments and people engage with us so we can answer back. Love that stuff. But go get it, guys. Vote so we can all win. This is for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Great energy. Let's keep that energy right there because NWSL is back. When we last saw them, the league was at a midway point of the season, 13 weeks into the year. And they said, we got to take a break here because, as I mentioned, there was a deep summer of soccer, a lot of international tournaments. And that meant a lot of NWSL players participating and being active on international duty as well. So when they dropped the schedule, they said there's going to be a midway break here. And it wasn't just any old break. We're talking about 4 weeks that they've been out of action, but they're back for week 14. And we are so thrilled about it because we've got a couple of matches coming up across Paramount Plus and on CBS. So make sure you can tap in. Let's start with Friday's game with Seattle Reign versus Angel City at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. We love an NWSL After Dark match on Paramount Plus. Let's hop right into it. Two teams in different phases of their season. Gotta say, if you're Seattle, probably feeling pretty good about what's been going on in this summer window for you with some additions. And then if you're Angel City, tough cookies here because they are returning without a win in their last 5 games for this match. So they've got some work ahead of them because that's one of the things that sticks out whenever we talk about a second half of NWSL. That playoff push for some teams is already going to get locked in. For you, Jordan, with some of these moves that Seattle has made so far, what are you looking for from potentially Seattle's new look offense against Angel City's defense?
Some big fish goals. I think that's number one.
Yes.
This has been the transfer of this window right now. And it might be the transfer of the year because Seattle has been really good defensively. Laura Harvey has not been shy about saying she is not happy with how many goals they gave up last year. And it has been a different Seattle team, back to principles, back to not giving up goals, but they've also played in a different formation. And I think with Mia Fischel now on this Reign squad, this is what I'm most excited about, you guys, because they can show some different looks. They can play in a 4-3-3 more. They've got Sofia Huerta back on the sideline. How does she and Maddie Curry get in the game at the same time? I think that's a question as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see them play in different formations. If we see Lynn Williams play potentially sometimes underneath Mia Fischel, maybe in a little bit more of a 3-4-2-1 with a couple attacking players that can get into the space and behind where when Fischel holds the ball up. That's going to be exciting to me. And I think Seattle needs this, McCall. They need to be a little bit more on the front foot, because as well as they're doing right now, it is boring in the attack. It is not as fun as it should be.
Well, they started slow this season, which is not Laura Harvey's style at all. I'm sure she was uncomfortable the whole time, kind of panicking and just doing work behind the scenes. Who do we need to go after? Who should we add to our roster? And they're already bringing players back in to figure that out. And they're on the climb right now. They're on the way up, and Angel City is on the way down for me, or at least Angel City's stuck. They're stuck. They can't get out of it. So for the Reign, adding that piece official, think about working with Darlene and Biondolo, and just, even if, like you said, Jordy, if they played 2 false nines where one was just stretching and one was checking, because Fischel is so strong on the ball. Her physicality, she is really good at hold it play and playing with her back to goal. So whether she's laying off and spinning so other speedies can run in behind her, which Seattle has, it's going to be a lot more fun in the attack now.
And typically, real quick, Sandra, this Seattle team has been so good in the channels, and they've been one of the highest crossing teams that we've seen. Well, they need to get back to that, because you have one of the best finishers in the box, sneaky, savvy runs by Fischel now, and now you have multiple targets who can find themselves in the box. So can they get back to a little bit more channel play and be more productive in those moments?
And now Huerta, who's one of the best crossers in the game, and that's already been their style of play, getting into those wide channels, like you said, and she's just going to exploit that. And they're going to pin teams in, because Huerta does get high. When you have outside backs that are willing to get forward, they're pinning in the other team, so it's so hard for them to get out.
I love that you both mentioned that you Jordan into the channels, and then you specifically McCall with Huerta, because I'm high on Fischel. I think this is a player who's going to do incredible things in her career. But there's something about getting a player back for the Reign in Huerta, where that's going to maybe be that, I don't want to call it an X Factory type of thing, but in the second half of a season, a player who you're getting back from loan, who is already familiar with the coach, the sideline, the tactics, the expectations really of the Reign and what they want to put together, I think could be so beneficial for them in this push, because they're sitting in 6th right now, but there's so much still of the season in front of them where they can maybe kind of bully and elbow their way into like a higher position. And I really do feel that Huerta could probably be that player to do it. I just think about her and her previous seasons with the Reign, and how so many things were by design. All the touches that she was constantly getting on the sideline for this team, the crosses getting whipped in, and now with Biondolo, and now with Fischel in that addition, I'm sure they're just all chomping at the bit to sort of see how it all looks, in a regular season format, because there's been some exhibition games over the course of this summer break for these teams, and Fischel and Huerta and among others are getting some of those early kind of minutes and touches together in those exhibition games. But like, there's nothing like that first game back, I think, after a long break. So I'm hopeful that we get to see some magic here for the new additions and for the Reign. For Angel City, though,
in a general sense, though,
yeah,
happy to see loans working out in the women's game now.
Yeah.
We see Huerta go get some experience, or a different dynamic to your game come back. Same with Sam Meza last year. Laura Harvey didn't think she was ready. Sent her to Dallas to get some games and come back. So this is a new wave that is happening in our league and in the women's game, where they're actually going on loan and they're returning. And that's so neat too, especially since players are getting a little bit more longer term contracts now because of the increased free agency. So, they're still, you own them, but they can go get more experience or something else under their belt that they bring back to your team, which only makes you better.
To your point, like with new additions, whether they're coming in, whether it's loan or players that are just getting acquired on transfers, or just signing contracts, teams like for Angel City, I'm curious for Sveindís Jónsdóttir. This is a player that they announced, just before the Euros. Like, how is this? We're talking about where players are going to and how they're going to look or fit in for Seattle. Who comes on or who comes in or does Jónsdóttir get a start or get a feature in this first game? Oh, you're crossing your fingers, Jordan. You hope so.
Can you imagine Jónsdóttir on one side and Thompson on the other? Good luck to the teams that are having to defend Angel City, who have already been such a strong attacking minded team on the front foot, really aggressive in the way that they play. Yeah, I hope Jónsdóttir starts, but I also hope they can get their German center back acclimated as quickly as possible, because this is the issue with Angel City. Alex Strauss came into a team who won. How many games did they win? Like 4-3 or 3-2. Like there were goals in Angel City's games in the first half of the season. This second half of the season, we need to see it like Kansas City last year, where Kansas City gave up a lot of goals in the first half. Second half, they became more structured defensively. And this is a German coach. I think it's going to be more structured defensively. For me, I think that those are the big signings for them. But this Angel City team is not very far away. They're 3 points out of playoffs. They have lost some games, but I think if they get structured defensively, they don't get so stretched in moments because they are so front-footed. It's like, McCall, the dominoes have to fall when you're pressing, and it's like one domino doesn't fall and then it breaks the whole system. Have they worked on that in this moment? And I think that they're going to score goals. They have one of the hottest goal scorers in the league right now in Tiernan, the rookie, and now two really good options on the wing. Because remember, Claire Emsley is now out with maternity leave. That was the news we heard, I believe, yesterday. So this is like an Angel City team I know is going to score goals, but what are they going to do defensively? And with Seattle, that's what's going to be the question in this game for me.
I'm also anxious to see how Jónsdóttir does translate into the NWSL, because in 19 matches in the Bundesliga, she only scored 2 goals. And it's only tougher in the NWSL to score goals and to break down these top defenders in the world. So yes, she'll provide that spark and that pace and that flank work, but they need that clinical sophistication up top as well. They still have a lot of youth in their front line that are possibly going to miss chances. And so they need someone who's a little bit more refined and clinical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think that's unfair to mention or bring up. I think, even in the Euros, right? It took her and Iceland as a whole to just sort of kind of really get going in that tournament. So, maybe this will be like a kind of a rocky introduction to start in NWSL. Going up against the Seattle Reign isn't going to be an easy feat if you're like a new international.
Seattle winning though. Seattle's going to.
I was going to ask some predictions. Yeah. So you're going Seattle. What are you feeling in this one, Jordan?
I'm going to go Angel City.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm going to go Angel City. Yeah, I think that I'm excited for the second half of the season from Angel City. I've called like so many Angel City games in the first half, and I can see the moments where I'm like, this team could be really good, which unfortunately we haven't been able to say for Angel City since they came into this league. And I just feel like it's a little different now. And this is going to be a good test coming back from this break.
Okay. I don't know. I feel
break the tie.
How can I break the tie? I feel like a lot of these games are going to have some of that, match week 1 kind of vibes to them. So I think this, as much as I want to see like exciting goals and like cool stuff, like crosses whipped in and all that, I think we'll get it, but it might be kind of disjointed in a way. Like there will be 2 teams who maybe find their ways into dangerous spaces, but maybe nothing too clinical or too on target to kind of start the game. So I think maybe experience might kind of edge out in this one. So I might go the way of the Reign. I think it'll be a narrow game, but I'm actually not that combo breaker because we ran a poll for our chat and those joining us live. And believe it or not, the people are with you, Jordan. We've got 66% in the poll saying that Angel City are going to take this one compared to 33% in Seattle. Right? Crazy. Well, so we're going to tune back in on Sunday and you can check back in with us to see who was right, who was wrong, or who knows? Maybe we'll just get a good old-fashioned NWSL draw. We'll see. Let's see what else is going on this week. We've got Orlando Pride and Utah Royals on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern on Paramount Plus. And gotta say, while I feel like some of these games this weekend could give us some of that match week 1 energy. I don't think this is the one that is going to feel that way for me. When I look at these two teams on paper, I see Orlando Pride with an incredible lineup doing really good things in 2025, going up against a struggling Utah Royal side. And they've already had a head-to-head this season already, where Orlando Pride not only got the better of them, kind of made Utah look foolish during certain stretches of that game. You know, it's one of those games where it's like you're looking at two teams on the table. They're obviously going in very different directions, Jordan. But for Orlando specifically, they are not actually at the top of the table. They are 8 points behind league-leading Kansas City Current at this moment. And so all these games in front of them are maybe opportunities to try to close that gap, more so than Utah to try to close a gap at the bottom half of the table.
It is.
My question to you,
yeah.
I know you're about to like hit us all with your knowledge, but my question to you is, for the Pride, going up against a team in Utah, is it more about just like showing that you're still a dominant team, or is it just about like, this is the opponent in front of us, let's go ahead and crush it?
Knowing Seb Hines, I think it's maybe the latter, but knowing these players and how competitive they are, I think they're going to want to say, hey, we're still here to push. Even though that shield race is starting to open up, I don't think this Orlando team has doubts that they can figure out a way to push that. So it's interesting because I don't think they're as dominant as they were last year. There was something about this team, like an aura about them, when whoever played them, they went out there and they were a little fearful. And I think teams have done a really good job of adapting. They have not given them the number one space that they want, which is in behind. So they haven't opened up in a mid-block, push, transition into a press, and then given up the space in behind. The only team that has done that is Utah, and that didn't go very well with the Banda hat trick. So I think for Orlando, the biggest thing that they're going to have to figure out in this second half of season, and I believe in Seb Hines and this coaching staff in the way that they can fiddle with things, is how do you break down a low block? How do you do it? How do you do it effectively? It is the hardest thing in the game. But for this Orlando team, teams are not giving them space in the behind. They are sitting lower. They're saying, break us down. And that has been difficult for Orlando. If they figure that out in this, or really honed in on that in this break, I feel like they are going to be a different level, because now you're going to have to mix it up again, right? You can't just sit in a low block. You're going to have to come out a little bit, and then space opens up. And that's where Orlando can really punish you.
You know, I'm curious on the Utah side of things in this one, McCall, because while Orlando is trying to chase some greatness here, for Utah, they're coming into the second half with maybe far different different long-term goals as a club. And I think if you're a player on that team, maybe you're also navigating some other things in your future. I mean, they have 10 players right now that will become free agents at the end of this year. So it sort of feels like as they're returning, they could be like this team in transition. So what could we see from this Utah Royals team in this match? And if you're a player on that team or in the locker room, what are the goals for yourself to sort of see this season out?
I mean, these two teams, this matchup, the Pride and Utah Royals, they're both thinking about completely different things right now. They're in completely different spots. Their concerns are very different. And I'm just going to call it how I see it. Pride have slowed down a bit. They really have. And I think what I can attribute that to is Marta was that driving force last year. She was highly motivated. She wanted to win and achieve the one thing she has not done yet, which is winning an NWSL championship. And when that chick wants something, she will get it. And
you know that better than anybody, McCall.
Yeah, seriously. I'm telling you, she is a leader that you feed and you breed off of. She pushes everyone around her. She puts expectation on herself, and she'll put the same onto you. And she gives you that feeling when you're on her team that you don't want to let her down, because you respect her and you admire her so much. And she's the GOAT. You listen to the MF GOAT. And if she wants it really bad, that puts a fire in everybody else. And she was so locked in, so focused, and so adamant about winning that championship last year. And now that she's got it, you kind of, lose those details and you get not a little bit complacent, but you can tell that the pride just didn't come back the same this year. But Utah, I was disappointed in them in this summer window. They didn't make any moves. They didn't go after any players. They didn't make any roster adjustments. So for me, I'm like, what are they really thinking about? What are they really doing? Mm-hmm. They're just trying to grasp and hang on. And Pride is just now trying to make the playoffs to win other championships. So they're in completely different spots.
Yeah, 100%. I framed it that way because I just sort of was like, yeah, it shouldn't feel this way maybe for a team that kind of made a little bit of second half noise last year, but that's not the same energy. It's not matching last year at all if you're Utah. So I don't know if I'm even going to bother with predictions for this one. It sort of feels like we think Orlando's going to go out there and do the thing, but shockingly or not shockingly, the chat agrees with us as well. 75-25. They do not think that Utah will find a way to upset Orlando. So what that means? We're gonna be right back here on Sunday, probably talking about a Royals win. But in the meantime, here's another game that we've got our eye on. So while you can watch all of these the first couple games that we talked about across Paramount Plus, we're also going to keep an eye on a number 4 versus a number 5 matchup. We've got Washington Spirit going head to head with Portland Thorns. This one's going to be on Sunday at 12:30 Eastern. I'm very, very curious about this particular matchup because you've got those two teams where maybe the margins are kind of fine. I think you've got two teams where this is a game that could be maybe one lost or even the draw in that middle third. And I'm very, very curious about this next phase for Washington Spirit because they're going to be this, I don't want to say completely different team, but they're navigating this next half of the season with Adrian Gonzalez as the new head coach. Technically a former interim who's now promoted to the full-time head coach. There is no more Jonathan Giraldes, who departed ahead of the July break to go run OL Lyonnais. So I'm curious for you, McCall, when you're looking at this one, is that going to be that sort of X factor for Washington Spirit? Sometimes when we see that sort of coaching change, we see like these little bumps for teams along the way. But I'm curious, does that happen for a team where a change like this is made shortly before a break, and then all of a sudden you have this big chunk of time with maybe a couple of exhibition games? Does that bump actually come into play? Do we think we'll see that come into effect for the Spirit in this return game back?
Well, for the Spirit, we're working with two major variables that they're now approaching into the second half of the season: a coaching change and Trinity Rodman return. So those two things are enough to really change the dynamic and the look of a team. But there's still a question mark because we haven't seen him coach at the helm, do everything on his own. And we haven't seen Trin back from this major back injury. And this is the longest time she's taken off football in a long time. And return to play is really so difficult. You can train all you want on your own, but there's nothing like being in that team environment with competition, then also getting into the games. I have concerns about the load that her back will take at high tempo, high pressure, high physicality games in the NWSL. And, I hope she's doing well. I really want to see her back on the pitch and back with our national team. And, she's our flair child. We love watching her. She's so much fun. She makes football fun. And so if she's not herself, that will be a very different look for the Spirit.
Yeah, 100%. It's not just, to your point, it's not just going to be on the sideline. This is the player who mentioned earlier before she took some extended time off that she said that, I don't know if I'm ever going to be the same Trin again. And bless Trinity Rodman, because she made fun of herself a little bit in recent media availability. She was back at training with the Spirit and said, God, I sounded so sad or so depressed when I said that. And she's obviously had some time to even think about where her mindset was from. I'm just going to share a little bit of some of what she told the media. She said, I think for me mentally, it was really hard. Now being better and fixing the problem, I can now kind of openly say I was in pain all the time. Working through that was difficult. Obviously, it sucks being away from the team, being away from soccer in general, but I got to work on things that I wouldn't have gotten to work on if I was in the team environment all the time. So I think that was a positive. So for some players, maybe getting that time away or getting different types of feedback on how to manage injuries can be helpful. It sounds like she's in a better place with some of what she was sharing with media at Spirit training. And so I do wonder if maybe this second half of the season for the Spirit, Jordan, will kind of mirror Rodman's beginning, because we didn't see her as like this immediate starter for the Spirit. I can't imagine that that's going to be the case in this return back either.
Spirit have been just fine, right? It's not that they're far off from anything. So getting Trinity Rodman back, is that the X factor? I think it potentially could be. But if I'm Washington Spirit, I am treating this very carefully. I am managing she's probably chomping at the bit, right? She wants to get back out there, but also she wants to get that back out there, like McCall said, feeling her best. And McCall and I have both been through this as a professional, and we don't wish this upon anybody, but sometimes injury gives you a perspective that you don't have before. And you know that where you want to go, and you can appreciate, like, I know that I'm only going to get there if I can be fully myself. And so can she manage those emotions of being back with the team, being back ready to contribute, with also saying, are these the right decisions to play a lot right now? Can I speak a little bit more about, okay, this isn't right for me, I'm going to express that. But for the Washington Spirit, I think they're in a good place. And even with Adrian Gonzalez being the head coach, they know what he's like, and they have health on their side now, which they have not had through the beginning of the season, with some really key players. And remember, Sandra, McCall, the beginning of last year when Gonzalez was coaching this team, they were so elite in a mid-block press. They were so good because they could spring Croy, they could spring Trinity at moments when they won the ball back. I am hopeful we are going to see a little bit more of that from this Spirit team, because they were hands down the best transition team from defense to offense last year. And if they can incorporate that with what they have already been doing, the success of their work in the channels with Kruger and some of the players like Santos who can spring balls into the box and they can finish. If they have that little bit of transition moment, I think that this is going to be a really good second half. But the big thing is, can they stay healthy, and can they manage the players who are coming back from injury, but which includes Hal and Croy and all those players too, right? So this is an intriguing matchup in a lot of reasons, but I think everybody's eyes are we going to see Trinity?
I'm glad you mentioned that.
I mean, I'm sure you guys are too. I'm still waiting for Croy Bethune to get herself back.
Exactly.
Like, she's not there yet. It's taken her a little bit longer than we would expect. And it's a process. People don't realize that there's so much mental and emotional, not only the physical and, introducing yourself back into that speed of play and having competition run at you, because when you are training on your own or, doing return to play with your health from a surgery or an injury, it's all individual work, and like your loading is already there, and you're just, but then when you put the dynamics of actual competition in front of your face and making decisions at a rapid pace again, and, when you're out of the game for a little bit, you kind of lose that knack. So we'll see.
No, I'm definitely glad you mentioned those players, because I think some people maybe forget, like, Trinity Rodman is going to be a player that folks are always going to be excited about and want to see, and they'll buy tickets to the Rodman show for sure. But because of that, it's almost like you sort of forget, like, how kind of stacked this Spirit team could be, like, between like the players who have been missing, like, how's Hal Hirschfeld going to look through this second half of the season, or Croy Bethune, like, and to your point, Jordan, with Gonzalez on the sidelines now, like, now that he has another piece to the puzzle in somebody like a Rebe Bernal, like, how is she going to be utilized moving forward between as a player who's already played across lines positionally for this team? So it makes me wonder, for the Portland Thorns side of things here, is this a game where they maybe have to make a little bit of a statement? It's hard to maybe put, maybe unnecessary pressure around the first game back into regular season here. But Jordan, for the Thorns, they have had to kind of ride some highs and lows of some streaks themselves this year. But even though they're sitting in 5th place at this moment, anything can change in a bad week or two in NWSL.
This Thorns team, though, has been the surprise of the year for me. With the turnover that they had and the youth that they have in their team, I did not think that we were going to see what we see, but they look reinvigorated. They look like they found their identity. Like, this is who the Thorns are going to be now. And it would be a really big statement. They have won 5 of the last 8 against the Spirit, but they have never won twice in the same season. They have never beat the Spirit twice. They beat them just a couple of weeks ago. It was only 2 match days ago, you guys, in Portland. And to be honest, they dictated the tempo at which that game was played. Now, can you do that at Audi? That's the question for me with this Thorns team, because they are young, because they want to be a little bit more on the front foot and high press. Can they manage those moments, especially if there is a boost with getting a player like Trinity Rodman back? You got to adapt to that. So those are the things that I'm looking for. But I've truly enjoyed watching this Thorns team play. And if they do get a win at Audi against the Spirit, there's no question that they are looking like contenders for me. And this is exciting because, you guys, I think at the beginning of the year, I put them like bottom 2 in the league. I'm not kidding. I did not think that this was going to be a good year for the Thorns.
Okay. Well, for me, like, you just need to get top 8, because in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen 8 go to number 1. Like, we've seen it all, right? Like, so if you are on that floating bubble, but the Thorns started really slow this year. And so I was concerned. Even Sam Coffey had a slow start, and now she's really coming into herself. She's found her leadership. She knows she's the girly. She's the one. She's doing that on national team, and she's getting more comfortable driving forward and shooting, which, when you look around and you don't have a lot of attacking presence in your midfield, you got to say, all right, now I've got to step that up into my game. But the key is having someone that you know will cover for you, especially when you're a lower holding midfielder. You need to have that trust that when I jet forward and I vacate that space, somebody's going to cover it for me. So Portland getting all on the same page with, to your point, Jordy, all the turnover that they've had in their roster. But one thing I will say, returning in the second half of the season, is Kaya Hanks was it for me, and they don't have her anymore. Mm-hmm. She was explosive. She was dynamic. She was putting every back line on their heels. She was creating. She was popping in goals. She was a really exciting player for the Thorns. And now without her in the front line, we'll see how they look.
I'm going to go with Sam Coffey as that X factor. I am very much here for the 2025 Portland Sam Coffeys, because this is absolutely Sam Coffey's team this year. We could see this other layer, this other evolution of Coffey in 2025, just like fully stepping into and embracing that leadership role, this sort of captaincy that's kind of been like bestowed upon her. It was like up there for grabs, right? After so many veteran players left this Portland Thorns side. And now it's like, there's no question in 2025 who is running the show for them.
I think she was like, everybody's talking about triple espresso. Have you ever tried a cup of coffee?
Yeah. Have you tried hot coffee?
It is good. It is really good. It's there for you every morning. It's a little easier to make, and it's effective. And I think that's what coffee has been doing.
It's hot. Yeah, it's hot right
100%. Now. 100%. I think this is the match that's gonna, maybe give us some surprises or give us a lot of fun. So that's why we definitely wanted to close out with this one. But really, before we hit our first break, we just wanted to give a very special shout out to Bev Yanez, because we saw in some of the news, like with a player movement or re-signings or extensions and things like that, those are always going to get the headlines. But Racing Louisville had a bit of business as well. And they said, you know what, we're going to go ahead and extend and exercise Bev Yanez option through 2026, because they are someone who has really kind of helped kind of trend Racing Louisville in the right direction. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be nervous until they actually do it. And by do it, I mean make the playoffs. So I'm going to be nervous for them until they actually clinch.
Well, I kind of feel bad for them because they were on a streak and they were like on a roll, super hot, and then boom, a break. Right? It kind of kills your momentum. So I'm anxious to see what they've been doing this past month, and if they were able to hold on to those good feelings, that momentum, that clicking that they were starting to get, scoring a lot more goals. But good feels all around. Congratulations to Bev. It's a good feeling as a player when you know that you're going to have consistency and be like, okay, this is going to be my coach for a long while. I understand our style of play. Let's dig in and let's keep growing up.
Yeah, I love it. There's going to be a lot of great stuff for us to keep our eye on in the second half of the season. And it starts back this weekend with games on Friday. You can catch them on Paramount Plus. Make sure you tap on in and make sure you tap back in with us after a quick break. We're going to be back with some stone cold guesses. Stay tuned. All right, we're going to introduce a new game here. We love to have some fun on Attacking Third every once in a while. We'll go ahead and introduce some games. I know, Jordan, you've been on with us for Name That Player. We're going to do stoned cold guesses as we head into week 14. It's a little bit of a new segment. It's like we're going to give the energy where it's just like the type of no doubt in our mind kind of guesses, even if the predictions are out of this world.
Can I say one thing? It's Stone Cold, like as of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and McCall and I are both wearing vests.
I can't unthink that in my brain every time I hear Stone Cold.
I know. So we're Stone Colds with the vests today, both McCall and I. I feel like we're very on point. So I like that.
I love it. I unfortunately did not tap in and get a vest. I'm looking around like where can I just like randomly grab a vest? Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to just do the celly in the meantime. But let's have some fun with this. Like we're gonna be confident in it no matter what, because that's what it's about when it comes to making the stone cold guesses on an out on the limb kind of wild scenario. So let's start with maybe one that isn't so unrealistic, because we've got some exciting goal scorers. The Golden Boot race is gonna tap back into action. Esther's leading the way with 10 goals, but it's a little bit of a trio right now. There's Barbara Banda and Temwa Shawinga right behind her with 8 goals. It's definitely going to heat up, obviously, as the remainder of the second season goes on. So let's start with this one. I'm not saying for sure, but blank will absolutely score a brace this weekend. We'll start with you, McCall. Who you got?
Yeah, Banda.
With the whole vested chest.
I mean, she's Brace Banda, baby. And considering the opponent, she's just going to be walking on through there with 2.
Brace Banda. I love it. I'm gonna agree with you on that one. I don't think I can think of another player who might, as far as games in front of us in week 14, I don't know if there's another player with a good opportunity to get a brace. You got a different one, or are you sticking with this one?
Well, I'm going Shawinga. I think Shawinga could. If we've learned anything about Temwa Shawinga, she will find a way to score a goal. And Louisville, I think, has learned their lessons in the last time that they played this Kansas City team. But I don't know. McCall just said it. Like, after a break, are you still as sharp? Do you still have the momentum? And Shawinga always has momentum. So I'm going with Shawinga.
All right, we got Banda, we got Shawinga. I like them both. I might be leaning towards Shawinga. I mean, when I'm looking at the goals for the top Golden Boot runners this year, I think as far as average, like Banda's like back to that good old average of Shawinga's back to that good old average of like scoring 1 a game at this point. 8 goals scored through 8 games essentially. So hopefully, because I've got her as my way too early prediction to win Golden Boot. So I'm hopeful.
So we need it for you this weekend.
For me, if not for anyone else, make it about me. That's 100. That's what Stone Cold is all about. All right, let's hit up with another one. I can't say for sure, but I think that blank will definitely keep a clean sheet this weekend. I'm going to take this one on, gang. Okay, I'm going to go with, I can't say for sure, but I think Claudia Dickey will definitely keep a clean sheet this weekend. I'm here for it. I know we started off this top of the show with a lot of energy around Seattle and Angel City. We're excited to have them on Paramount Plus. But I'm high on Claudia Dickey, and I think this is a player who should be high on themselves as well, especially riding out, into a summer break with some time with the women's national team, maybe a little bit of a confidence boost. Not that she needed one, because she had been doing some really, really good things with Seattle. I think at one point through 10 games, she was the only American keeper leading in a lot of different goalkeeping stats across the league, which is part of what got her this call into national team camps. And not for anything else, I'm pretty sure, even throwing the 10 game stat out the window, right now, going back into week 14, I think she leads right now in terms of goals prevented with like a 5.68 or something like that. Feel free to stat check me on that, Jordan. I know you and I share those kind of stats.
Yes.
But she's been incredible. So she has been like this absolute force field, this absolute rock around Seattle's neck. And it's like a bit of a aura energy because it's like the team feeds off of it. And so I think that Claudia Dickey will give us a clean sheet this weekend.
That's stone cold. That is stone cold. And if that happens, that is not my choice, but if that happens, I'm going to say, I'm not sure, but I'm going to say that she also has save of the week because she's going to have to make some good saves against Tiernan, Thompson, Kennedy, all those players. So, okay, I just added another one onto that, Sandra, but I was going Kingsbury.
No, it's okay. Who do you got? Okay.
I'm going
Tell me what.
Kingsbury. I think at Audi, playing against this Portland team, they have options. McCall said they don't have Kaya Hanks, which really opens things up for them. And I think Kingsbury and this Spirit team with a new head coach, refreshed, they are going to go into Rowdy Audi and say, hey, we have to turn the tide and we have to make this a place where it's not just fun to play in, but we win all the games here. So I'm going Kingsbury gets the shutout.
How about you, McCall? You going to agree with one of ours or go with a different one?
I'm going different. I'm going Animal House for the Pride, clean sheet.
Yeah.
Coming off winning the Euros, didn't play 1 minute. She's going to have a fire in her belly that she wants to come prove what she can do. And now that she's had a taste of being in a camp that wins a major medal, she's going to want to be on that stage one day, saving penalties and, doing what her teammate did. So she's going to be motivated. She's going to be confident. And she's going to be back with her trusty back line that she's had some good performances with, that she's been playing with for several years, that she has familiarity with. And it's going to be hard to break them down.
All right. 3 different keepers for the Stone Cold pick in this one. But you know what? Let's go with just like a real crazy one, a real wild, out of this world kind of prediction where we have to answer it confidently with a Stone Cold pick. Let's go with this one. I can't say for sure, but blank will drop 4 or more goals on blank this weekend. So it's a twofer in this one. Who wants it first? Don't all just jump at the bit.
I think we probably have the same team.
I think so too. Team and player. I think for me, look, if she got 3 last time, why not get 4 or more? I'm going with Barbara Vanda against Utah Royal to maybe reintroduce herself to everybody in week 14 as NWSL returns. Does anyone else want to challenge that? Say someone else is going to get 4 or more against so-and-so?
4 is a lot, y'all. I mean,
It is.
Wait, I thought it was just 4 goals in general. It doesn't have to be one player. That's how I read it.
It says, okay. Well, I'm going with player. But
okay, well, that is bold. I'm still going those 2 teams. I'm saying Orlando's doing that to Utah, but I don't think they're all going to come from Banda. We might get a Banda brace, which she loves to do. But that's the teams that I saw as well.
I mean, this is my concern though, right? The reason we're answering these so easily with the Pride is because of their opponent. Right. Yeah. And so my concern is like, are we getting to an era where we have to consider the opponent now, where there is parity in our league? And I think why this is starting to happen is because now players have a choice of where they want to go. Right. And eliminating the draft so they can choose where they want to go, and also increasing free agency. So now there's going to be clubs that are less desirable and it's going to be harder for them to attract players. So they're just going to keep going down because nobody wants to be on a losing team that is in Utah. And so if they have a choice, whether they're international players or even domestic players, they're going to choose the teams that are in the top 8. Why would anyone want to go to a bottom team? So now there's going to be this gap that starts to happen, and we're going to have these matches where it's like, you want to go get a brace, you probably can. So, I think this is the first time I would ever say this season that I could expect someone to score 4 goals on one club.
I will just say one thing. That was a great point, McCall. But you go to those teams in the bottom because they're probably offering you more money to come and change everything up. So I think that's why we will see team players go there. But it's hard, and I like that there's a little parity, but there's also
this is what bothered me about Utah, because go spend the money then. Yeah. Where are the players that you didn't grab this summer?
Yeah, I agree.
Who is making a lot of money on that team? You know what I'm saying?
I am curious.
Spend it. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious if this is a team that starts making moves. You know, if an elimination from contention comes early for them, maybe they start making moves. I am very curious how the new sort of switch in ownership has affected things. You know, a lot of times we see freezes. I think we saw similar in the past with franchises like the Thorns or Seattle,
yeah,
or even Chicago,
mm-hmm.
even Gotham, formerly Sky Blue, as like they were navigating ownership things. Like, so I am curious if maybe that eventually comes in. God, I'm really surprised. No, like to that point, like how we're talking top, bottom, you know, the table. Like for this one, so and so getting 4 more goals over so and so. Like none of us mentioned like Gotham over Chicago for this one. You don't think Gotham, like they got the Golden Boot leader right now?
She's not going to play.
If Esther's playing,
I don't think she's going to play.
Crazy.
That's what changed it. I don't think she's going to play. So I was like, eh. And it was a draw last time. Like I felt like Chicago, that was the best game Chicago had played this year.
Yeah.
So can they be excited about that? Come on, you're the one that's supposed to be positive about Chicago here.
Oh no! Do you know any Chicagoans? You know me. Like we are like a pessimist at heart, like realist, absolute realists. Look, that draw came by way of a coaching bump, right? That little coaching bump effect that happens.
They got another one.
And we'll see what happens now with Ella Master. Okay, so everyone's sticking with Orlando over Utah for the Stone Cold pick in that one. This was fun. I hope we bring this one back. I hope we think of even more wild ones to sort of go along. And maybe we bring this one back when there's like only a couple weeks remaining in the NWSL season. But stick with us. We're gonna close the chapter on week 14 previewing right now, and then we are gonna hit up a little bit of a preview with Copa América right after a quick break. All right, welcome back to Attacking Third. We have got to preview Copa América Femenina because the final will be taking place on Saturday. Excuse me, it will be taking place tonight. Jesus, I've got all my days mixed up. That's what happens when you watch like 12 hours of soccer a day, every day for the summer of soccer, and that just sort of melts your brain away. But Saturday, August 2nd, at 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern, Colombia versus Brazil. They're going to be squaring off for the Copa América Femenina title. How did these teams get here? Maybe it wasn't as easy for Colombia as it was for Brazil. Colombia coming off of a semifinal penalty kick shootout against Argentina. They advanced 5-4. Brazil making some pretty quick and easy work against Uruguay. 5-1. In the semifinals for that one. So we've got the matchup that so many of us thought that we were going to get a repeat of, 2 of CONMEBOL's finest in Colombia versus Brazil. When we're looking at these two teams, Jordan, do you have an ultimate winner in this one and why?
Oh my goodness. So we're going straight for winners.
Yes.
This is going to be I hope this is as good as a game as we think it could be. It was different in the group stage, right? With the Lorena red card. And so Brazil defending well, down a player for a lot of that game. But I hope this is end-to-end action. I hope that this Colombia team, with the players that they have who can dictate the game, and Ramirez up front, and Lacey Santos, who will be the X factor for me if Colombia ends up finding a way. But Brazil right now, don't you guys just love the way that they're playing? I love the setup, how they put themselves in this, it's a variation of a 3-back, and they are so uber aggressive. It's been fun watching Angelina, but on the other side, can you get Marta in the half space, finding Amanda Gutierrez, who is like, talk about someone that you want to see in NWSL. Want to see her in NWSL. She has been excellent. So Marta Santos, like, who wins that battle as the playmaker in this game. My goodness, I'm excited for this. I think this is exactly what we wanted, as you said, Sandra, but I hope it plays out like that.
And they're actually defending now. Brazil actually defends. In the past, you know, obviously their culture, everybody just wants to do flair and tricks and flicks, right? They just want to express themselves in the attack. So finding people that actually want to defend was their weakness, you know, watching those gaps, those holes, that inability to just commit defensively, to block, to tackle wasn't in their style of play. They notice that that's what they need to increase if they want to stay in the top 10 and actually compete in these major world tournaments. And they've added that layer to their system now where they actually defend, they're organized, they work on it, they press, they slide and guide, they shepherd teams away from the goal. Whereas before it was like Swiss cheese, you could just go right down the middle because everybody's bombing forward because everybody wants to score a goal. And it's like, well, we're just straight down your neck. Mm-hmm. So Brazil adding that, now that they're defending, that's what's making them stick in the top 10 and be a really good performing team.
I'm not going to say that it's all because of some players coming stateside playing in NWSL, but you can see and hear from these players when they're asked about it that it has shifted the way that they manage games. And it honestly probably also takes a head coach to realize that shift and make sure that you're combining those elements. And I think that Arthur has done a good job sort of making sure that this team can combine the signature flair with defensive effort. And we get to see it by this Brazil side. And it's wild to look at it now and sort of see like, oh, like this kind of complete package coming together for Brazil. So I don't want to say there's like a favorite in this one because this is going to be Brazil's toughest test throughout this Copa América. But the record is there, Jordan. The record is there. Brazil has gotten the best of Colombia in their head-to-head overall. So they dominated over the 22 times, winning 22, drawing 12, and only losing 4 times. And I say only, but that doesn't mean it's not impossible. I mean, it has happened. And when you get to such a high stakes match like this, truly anything can happen. I do wonder if this could be one where it is so high stakes and maybe it is tense that it does go to penalties.
That it does say it. We've had enough of that this summer.
Be better than the Euros at pens, please.
Oh, we have had enough of the pens. But Colombia has done well in that they get to the final because of pens. I don't know. You guys know when you're like in between these, like your head and your heart are like back and forth. Like my head says Brazil, easy. We see this team, we see their structure, we see their record against Colombia. But like my heart is like, I want a mix up here. I want Colombia to win. I want to see a parade in Colombia like we saw a parade in the Euros. And for me, that has been the thing that I maybe most disappointed with this tournament, Sandra, is we're talking about all the things that we shouldn't be talking about. We're not talking as much about what's happening on the field. We're talking about what's happening off the field. How does that change, Sandra? How do we get that to be like it is here in America, like it is in Europe, down in South America? Because these games are exciting. They're thrilling. They have been really fun. And these two teams are some of the best, you know, they're not both top 10 teams in the world, but they could be pushing there if we get to this, if we get to a point where we're talking more about what's going on in the field. How does it get there?
You know, I hope that it starts with tournaments like this because we were so amped for this summer of soccer. Everyone was like, yes, we're going to have Euros, we're going to have women's AFCON, we're going to have Copa América. Like the league took a break because so many of its stars were going to be competing in this stuff. And yet when we did these check-ins for some of the other tournaments outside of Euro, whether it was AFCON or Copa America, we constantly found ourselves having to like revisit some of these very annoying things. I got to shout out Lori Lindsay because like Lori, when we were doing these check-ins, said that specifically. It was like, it's boring. Like it's getting boring to have to chat about these constant hurdles or obstacles in the women's game. But doing it within a tournament that is supposed to be one that is very revered in your continent, one that is supposed to be like so high stakes, is boring. And I just sort of echoes those sentiments, and where it gets annoying and stale, where it's like we kind of had to keep doing these check-ins. And I'm thinking, if you're Brazil, we were sort of queens of this tournament, queens of this continent, taking it upon themselves to have to be that kind of vocal point, and have to be the ones to say those things, where maybe we've seen in CONCACAF or in global football how like United States women have often had to lead the charge or lead the way in advocating for oneself and better conditions. And it just sucks, for lack of articulating. It just sucks to have to do that or have those conversations within tournaments that are supposed to be represented at the highest level. These are major key tournaments for these nations, for these footballing federations.
But to be fair, we have to start somewhere. And we did it also here in America. Like, building a league was not easy. Building the respect that women's football was not easy. And it didn't happen overnight. I mean, it felt like Groundhog Day, the same story over and over again. And you just had to keep believing, committing to the cause, staying the course, and knowing that one day it will pay off and it will turn over. Yeah. And it takes time. And unfortunately, those other countries are behind ours. But we started that wave that will continue to change the globe of getting women's football to where it's at. But it's just so hard to watch other countries suffer when we have already made it. And we're like, oh, come on, Yeah.
And I don't think it's, even on the players, because like we have these incredible examples of players speaking out. I mean, you've got the legend in Marta putting her name and face on it. Like, I wish we didn't have to do this. Other teammates, whether it was like Ari Borges or like Caroline, like tapping in and echoing those sentiments. It really does start at the top, unfortunately. Like, there needs to be better from CONMEBOL nations. Like, FIFA needs to be better at executing those checks and balances when it comes to making sure that these tournaments have all the appropriate support and resources. And that just didn't happen in this Copa América. I mean, they didn't have VAR during the group stage. They were like, no, that's okay. Like, we'll just have it for like the semi, and we'll have it for the final. Like, it's the little things like that where you're just like, how can this be taken seriously? Like, if the appropriate parties in charge of the decision makers don't take it serious. So I hope we get an incredible final. I hope maybe we do. Maybe we do get an upset, because if Colombia does deliver this upset, it would be iconic. It would be like history making. And if they do get this upset, it has to be celebrated in those ways, like with parties in the streets or celebrations and parades. So we'll see.
We'll find out Saturday, baby.
We're gonna find out Saturday. We're gonna not only find out Saturday, we're gonna find out if the chat was correct, because of course we ran a poll. We love to poll the audience here. And they think that despite all the cool history making that could potentially be in play, they still think Brazil's going to take this one. 75% say that Brazil is going to take it once again over Colombia, that they're going to remain queens of CONMEBOL. We'll see. But that is it for us here on Attacking Third. Any final thoughts from you, my lovely co-hosts?
No, that was so fun. That was so
big
fun.
Weekend up ahead. I'm so excited we have the NWSL back. Now I know, like, when I was a player, I was just blind to it. Now I'm a fan. I'm like, this sucks. Bring it back.
You think we're excited? We just talked for 60 minutes. I think we're ready to go.
It's like, it's fine. It's like, what would be better after like saying goodbye to a summer of soccer? More soccer. And that's what's going to happen. Make sure you tune back into Attacking Third on Sunday, August 3rd, right here on YouTube. Lisa Carlin, myself will go ahead and chat all things NWSL right after the final whistle of Orlando Pride. Make sure you tap on in. We're going to have a post-match player interview. We'll discuss all of our biggest takeaways from the weekend. And, of course, we're bringing back our weekly best 11. So make sure you tap back in and follow Attacking Third wherever you get your podcast. Catch us on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. And thank you all for joining us. For me, Sandra, McCall, Jordan, our producer, Mark. This was Attacking Third. Thanks for being here.